This should all be loose, right? What is that? Is that a mushroom? Is that a spider? Is that the... I think that's a mushroom. Did a mushroom just fall out of the car? I think that is a mushroom that came from inside of my fender. So I've got all these top ones loose. Ignore the big hole. Don't look at that. Don't look at the hole. Just look at the bolts. Don't look at the hole. But guess how far we got that? Oh, hello. Anybody home? Abandoned? Maybe one guy. Phillips head screwdriver. Phillips head screwdriver. Not bad. Very rusty. Oh, don't even have one there. Oh, wait. Okay. Let's see. Cooperative we are here. Oh, why not? Why? Why not? Ah. Ah. Yeah. It's because there's 50 years of dirt. Yeah. Okay, come on. You two? Well, yeah. You both have to come at the same time. Ah, there we go. Sliders. Yeah. Bring the whole thing. Yep, there we go. Let's see. Do you have a date code anywhere? How long? Is he A78? I know it's 1978. Right? I'll take a look at these little. The plugins in the back are green. Pile of dust comes out. And the old steel beams. I'm gonna keep them because I like the way that they look. We have the contacts. They're not too bad. And we get a new plug. There's all these little harnesses. They're cheap. Instead of trying to clean those spades off in there, you get them all completely clean. You just get a new one. Get a new one. Sorry about that. Yeah, we will. Other side. 1, 2. We got all 3 over here. Yeah. Oh. There. We go. Gotta be committed. Make sure we're not there. Already loose? No. Not till this one's. Okay. Okay. Is there at the same time? There you go. Headlight ring. something. ZA78. This plug looks the same as the other one. So yeah. Sylvania. Is that where Dracula's from? Oh, that's Transylvania. So I've got all these top ones loose. Ignore the big hole. Don't look at that. Don't look at the hole. Just look at the bolts. Don't look at the hole. Got all of these ones loose, but these the bottom ones. The ones down the bottom are being very difficult. These ones down here are being very difficult, so I'm spraying them with the juice. Really juicing them. Let's see if we can get them off here. So I'm blasting these bolts with penetrating oil for like a week. I got the back one out. That was not easy. The front one. It's still being very difficult. Finally got the front one to come loose. Mostly. Yeah. Good night. Okay. So that should be all the bolts for the fender except for the one that's in here. I need to push the car out. Oh, there's the two bottom ones on the other side still. Oh, I should go check them. But other than this one bolt up here behind the door, you have to open the door to get it and I have to push the car out. There's not enough room in here for me to open the door. This should all be loose, right? What is that? Hey, is that a mushroom? Is that a spider? Is that? I think that's a mushroom. Did a mushroom just fall out of the car? I think that is a mushroom that came from inside of my fender. Hello? Oh, any more mushrooms? What is that? Who are you? A piece of pink foam. I don't think that's factory Ford. What else do we have in here? Leaves, seeds. This is a mushroom, right? I think this is a mushroom. Should I taste it? Should I take a bite of the mushroom? Oof. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a mushroom, bud. Lips are starting to go a little numb. Okay, anything else? Anything else from in here? Wow. More mushrooms? Great. What is this? Maybe just one mushroom. Leaves, dirt. What if I pull this open? There's a whole bunch more mushrooms behind it. Okay, I'm gonna do the other side, then I'm gonna push the car out, and then I'm gonna take the fenders off, and then we'll see if there's more mushrooms. Okay, got both bolts on the other side. No mushrooms here, but guess how far to get that? Oh, hello? Anybody home? Abandoned? Maybe one guy. Oh, is there someone living here? No, thank you. Well, I can't put you back, so just remember me. Okay. Well, this is the new fender in it. It was easier to get these bolts out. I think that it hasn't been quite as long since these were placed in there, but they are pretty. Those are pretty scrummy, so we'll probably just get new ones of those. But look at the last bolt. I'm gonna push the car out. Wasps, nests. That last bolt is. Can we see? Can we see on the camera? Right. Hello. Increase brightness. Focus. Focus over there. Focus over there. Ah, no, it's not. But it's in there. You can see it right here. Right there. So, I got this cool gas cap. Little flippy open. Mounted on for it. Sure, that's pretty sweet. Okay, push the car out, take the fenders off. Find the mushroom farm, eat the mushroom. Alright, let's see if we can pull this hog out of here and pull these fenders off with the doors open. See if she'll start up. See if she'll run! That might be better. Loose squirt. Car start. Last long. $900 degrees. Gotta be careful. Okay, so there shouldn't be anything else on this arm. I don't think. You holding on to anything? Oh, these two guys up here, right? Inside here? You guys? Are you guys here? No, looks like, yeah. These guys. You down here. Hello, house. Here's you. I'll take off those two. What from the others? Yeah, pretty good. Fun. Thankfully, all these bolts are back in the same. Wasn't very loose. Not a happy kid. Okay, brand new. Okay, now we'll still attach. You unplug. You're unplugged. Okay. Back to one. Of course, this fender is. Of course, this fender's 900 degrees. Break it out. I don't think anything else is attached. Can we find out? Anything else is holding. Released. Jeez. Just no change-o. She's up. Well, it doesn't look terrible. Vin's there. This is a little lumpy. I'm gonna clean all this up. In here. You can see there's some spots where I already kind of got some. This is all coating that I put on, but obviously you can't get it everywhere when the fender's on, so I'm gonna clean all this up and look at it better. Clean all this stuff up in here and take a better look at this. But yeah, there's this little ridge. You can't see inside of here, but inside of there, inside of the cowl, it's rusted out, and it's because there's this little lip of seam sealer right here, and it doesn't let water come out. Water's supposed to flow out of there. That's the drain for the whole thing. Water, they're usually full of like leaves and junk, mud. That one actually looks pretty clean, but it's got a little dam. I'll pick all that out of there and fix that later on. Do the other side. Any day now. Go back over down there. sakes. Let's get a drink. Inside the door. We'll be back down. Oh. Wow. What's happening here? What is this? What? This one is a nut. Not a ball. Look at it. 916. It has a nut. A nut. Hello? Ernest. Nut and glove washer. Instead of a factory bolt line. Long magnet. Midlight. Midlight. I guess I myself that lot, but why? So why? Oh, okay. Hot here. Okay, what are the chances that if I just... then it'll just come off? What are the odds of that? 0? Is anyone home in here? Up the bottom? Do you see? Hello? Honeycomb? Honeycrisp? It's quite the abode. Doesn't look to be occupied though. Okay, moving on. Who's that? Clips. You nuts. There we go. That's what we're looking for. Hey. It's the bolt that came from the top is the wrong one. It's... I'm gonna put... it's like a clear silicone. Silicone. Very strange. What do we have in here? No additional mushrooms. This all looks pretty original. Let's scrape all this out of here. Put some goop on it. Yeah, see, this is why they can't drain. Because they get leaves and stuff. And they get all clogged. And then it goes down the the vents inside. Oh look, hello, it's interior. It's supposed to be plugged in, I think. Engines look okay. It could be worse. Lots of goo. But I need to scrape all this off of here. And I'll probably treat this. The inside of the tail light. I guess somebody didn't want to take it off. Had a broken bulb in it. So the old bulb snapped off and fell down inside, and they're just like, well, she's gone, I guess. She gone. Okay, almost done. On to the next one. So, underneath here, we have added this replacement panel. It still has paint and pinstriping on it, but I think it was just glued on. I think the whole thing is just glued on, and the metal behind it is just, it's cooked. So I'm gonna need new trunk drops. This whole piece inside of here you can buy. So it comes off here. Take this whole thing out. I need to replace this anyways. This is part of this lower quarter. And this whole thing's cooked. Got a big hole in it. So this has to be replaced anyways. And that includes this under here. There's holes here. See holes? Hello? Hello, holes? Hole, hole, hole. So, I guess you just start cutting it off. This freaking guy. So, I'll start cutting pieces off and fixing them. So in that last clip, I was grinding on some places on the tail panel where I thought that there might have been some thicker Bondo. There's a little bit over here, just like in some like some pitting spots, but it doesn't look too bad. So I think that the rear panel is salvageable. Little tiny pinhole right here. Kind of hard to see, but it's fine. One little zap with the welder and that'll be fine. Everything else is good. Still has the original stamping on it, so I don't think it's been replaced, part number stamping. Everything else looks pretty good. These are where the bumper mounts go through. There's a thicker bracket kind of spot welded behind here. And this piece right here, right behind here, is the edge of the frame rail in the trunk that goes, you know, straight forward on the car. And it must have gotten bumped. The bumper got bumped on the other side and stamped a hole right at the end of the frame rail, right here. So you can see it sticking out right there. This piece just got pushed in a little bit where this mount is and just punched a little tiny hole. And that's just that's the sheet metal to the end of the frame. So I think what I'll do is I'll just go into the trunk. The bow is super, super subtle. This piece is right up against the tail panel. And so you can see this little tiny gap that's right here. This was actually touching. I went inside of here just with a punch, and I hit it with a mini sledge on each side just a couple of times, and it already started moving this the tail panel out a little bit. So I think I'll just tap it out until it meets up with the top piece. And I'll just tap this piece in, and then I'll just stitch weld that across there, and then that will be fine. And then we were back in the car in pizza, yum. We were back in the car in after doing all of that, turned the car around and popped the brake line, popped the old brake hose right there. It's that hose. That whole hose is done. It's very old. I don't think it's original, but it's very cracked, very crunchy. And maybe it was replaced when they did some of this stuff to the car. Maybe when they did some of the repairs, the sheet metal repairs, like this right here, these little rivets and this sheet metal. This is the backside of the battery tray. Battery trays on basically everything. Pretty good chance that those are rotted out because at some point or another, a battery leaks or explodes and battery acid sits in here and just disintegrates the metal. So it's not the world's prettiest repair. I'm not even sure why these rivets are in here. I think what they did was they just riveted a piece of metal, like a piece of plate metal, on top of the old instead of cutting out the bad stuff. And I mean, it's that holds the battery in. Yeah, the bracket's a little bit loose, but it holds the battery in pretty snug, and there's not like a giant hole in it or anything like that. So I'll probably just leave that for now. What else? Behind the fenders, I mean, everything looks not so bad. This is the original color of the car. It's that blue diamond color. You can't really tell when you look at it. It just looks like it's white, but if you hold a piece of white paper up to it, which I don't. Is that anything white? The glove is white. Does that make it look blue? A little bit. It's like a super, super faint, like blue color. In certain light, it looks white. In certain light, like when it's cloudy, it looks super blue, like a baby blue kind of color. But inside of here, behind the fenders, it doesn't look terrible. I didn't find any more evidence of like collision damage. I was really worried that I might find, like in this seam right here, a wrinkle, like if that whole section, the whole firewall got pushed back, or up here, like where the apron meets, maybe that these spot welds up here would be like broken, or that this would be bent back, but everything seems pretty square, so that's a good sign. These holes, I saw another car, first gen Mustang with these same holes in there. And I think basically what happens is this part of the apron overlaps here about this far underneath here. The edge is like right here. And this upper piece, just like most parts of the car, is spot welded on. You can see the spot welds. There's one right here. There's one here. There's one here. One right here. One right here. One right here. And there might have been, at some point, one right here in the middle and one down here in the middle. And I think what happens is, as the wheel is down here spinning, you know, it flings, water gets up in between this seam right here, gets trapped in between, sandwiched in between these two pieces, and just starts turning it into mush, you know? So I think what I'm gonna do is, I have some 16 gauge plate. It's a pretty thick plate. I might even have some a little bit thicker, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut along this line right here, and then where the piece overlaps, so basically like right down here, I'm gonna cut this off, cut this whole section out, so there will be no more overlap between these two. And I'm just gonna butt weld a plate onto this piece of the apron, straight to this piece of the apron, and it will just be smooth across there, and that'll fix that. And I'll do the same thing. The other side has two holes there also. Boom, boom. And then the back side of the hood hinge mounts, you can see those have been replaced before. Someone tried to replace them with washers. Somebody tried to just weld some big old washers on the back sides of those nuts, and there wasn't enough metal left. And they probably took the welder to it, and it was thin, and it just blew a big hole in it. So I'm gonna cut this whole piece out right here, and then up to here. I'm gonna weld a plate in there too. And then I'll just get, you know, nuts and washers same size as this, basically, that fit, and I'll just weld them onto the back side of a new plate. And I'll use the old hinge to measure it so that all that stuff fits. But for now, I need to pull the drum off and replace this brake line and the wheel cylinder. I already have a line and a wheel cylinder for it. When I first got the car, I took the brakes off and I put new shoes and hardware in the drums, re-greased the bearings. But on this one, I was having a hard time getting the hard line off, the brake line off, and you can't replace the wheel cylinder. Well, I mean, I guess you could, but you will smoke you have to twist the wheel cylinder to get it on. So it's much easier if you can get both ends of the line off. And this brake hose was not leaking, and when I bled the brakes, I really slammed on the pedal to build up pressure in there, and it didn't pop the wheel cylinder, and it wasn't leaking. So I drove on it for a little bit, and you probably shouldn't do that, because you can pop the brake line and then you have no front brakes. But I'm gonna replace that now, and hopefully I can get that upper brake line fitting off right there, and then replace the wheel cylinder in here, and then that'll be good to go. And then eventually we're gonna go discs on the front of these, probably depending on what size wheels we're gonna go with, probably do the 6-piston Willwoods for the front, because they're almost the same price as the 4-piston ones. You just have to run a little bit bigger wheel. So it depends on if we're gonna run 15s or 17s to clear the bigger brakes. But for now, these are fine. I'm gonna leave these brakes, the drums front and rear, on the car until all the body work and stuff like that is done. And then we're going to do all the brake stuff after that. So let's get this taken apart. Alright, well, fingers crossed. Got the socket from the hose side in the slappy drill, and the line wrench on the other side. And we will see what happens. Give it one last shot of flame. See what happens. 7/16. Come on, you. Hello? Come on. Oh, you gotta make me grab it because it's 1,000,000 degrees now? Is that what's happening? Oh. Got the bolt sticking out now. Oh. Why you got to be so... Go. Yeah, go back where you came from. You on. Slappy drill on. Line wrench on. And then we cross our fingers. Here we go. Way is that coming off? Rust welded. Gonna have to get a new line. Yay. So this is what that fitting looked like that I pulled out of there. I think it was cross-threaded. If you look inside of here, you can kind of see the threads are a little bit marred up. But they got it to seal. Look at this. I mean, the threads on the end of that are just cooked. I think that this is not the original. This one's been replaced at some point, and maybe they cross-threaded it. You can see the red right here on the end of the fitting. That's usually how they color code the 7/16 fittings is red. I don't think the factory ones are like that. So somebody replaced it at some point, and maybe it got cross-threaded, but it was in there enough that it sealed up against the surface of the flare. So I have to replace this brake line. And I don't know, when they replaced that, they either cut the end of it off and put that fitting on it, or this union right here is not original, which is possible. I'm gonna see if I can get this fitting out of here. And that's a 3/8 fitting. If I can, I'll just run a new line from this fitting. And if I can't get that out of there, I will cut this brake line over here on this side and put a new 3/8 on there, flare it, put a new union here, and then I'll run a new line down to the frame rail. I have enough brake line that I could run this from the frame rail all the way along the firewall to the other side, down here to the brake block. But I don't really want to do that if I can avoid it. I'd rather just tie it in right here. I hate having an extra union right there, but I think for the drum brake setup, it's probably fine. So I'm gonna try to get this off of here, and we'll make a new brake line. That was in there almost impossibly tight. I thought it was just gonna strip around and around and around. It took most of the metal off of the fitting, but it broke loose. And so I'm hoping that this fitting comes out clean, the threads come out clean, so I can thread in the new brake line from this joint, this union, and save myself a lot of time. There's that fitting that came out of there. Threads look okay. Had a decent looking flare on it. Look how soft this metal is. That vice grip just chewed that up. So we'll make a new line, put it into that union down there, and we'll stick it through the hole in the shock tower, and we have our new brake line. Hey. This is the new brake line. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Very sweet. Brake line, yeah. Nice and good. Nice and good. Ah. Oh, what? Oh, this arm is so tight. Why did they do this to me? Brother, what? Oh. See? Jeez. Good night. Why? Why not? No parking. Very frisky. You happy now? Let's not forget to put the thing on the thing. You're not supposed to tighten this. Sure. Stick it in the goo first. Operation number 1. Ooh, that's a lot of goo. How much goo? How much goo? Peter would say. It can never happen after the bucket out. Look it up for operation number 2. This is operation number 2, number 2, number 2. Don't be like that. Great. Your handiwork now. Well, would you look at that? Not the glue? Look at that. Look at it. Admire it. Is it a perfect flare? It might be a perfect flare. It looks like a perfect flare to me. First brake flare I've ever made in my entire life. Look at it. Gorgeous. Look. The fitting. Didn't even forget it. Didn't forget the fitting. Look at that. Don't look away. Admire it more. That's what you call nailing it. First try. Okay, now to bend and to cut and to put the other end on and then the hose and then the thing and then we'll be done.
Do what thing?
Yeah, do you see this?
Yeah.
My flare?
Are you recording right now?
No.
Okay.
You see my flare? What would you rate it? What would you rate my flare? What would you rate it? A 7 out of 10. This, right here. See this? This thing? Look how it comes, just blank old poop.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Look at this. It's folded out and then in onto itself.
Wow.
What do you think about it? So this thing, it fits here like this.
Pretty cool.
What would you rate it out of 10?
I mean, I would say 10 out of 10. I didn't even know you did anything, so there you go.
10 out of 10, you didn't know that I did anything.
Yeah. I thought that's how it came. 10 out of 10.
So now you know
Good
it
job.
didn't come that way. Yeah, I did this.
Well done.
A plus?
A plus plus.
Wow, 2 pluses. Over 100%?
You need to get extra credit.
Extra credit. You hear that? A plus plus. From someone who has no idea what they're looking at. Okay, screw it into the thing and bend it. Brake flare number 2. What do we think? Ooh. Looks pretty good. Alright, that's everything reconnected. Brake line, no cylinders in. So we tapped into this little union here. Got the grommet back in, through the shock tower, out this side, down here, through the factory little holdy thing. I have this all adjusted so it's not, there's a little gap behind here so it's not rubbing. Comes around to the front, got a little service loop in case I ever have to cut it and mess with it again. Fittings in, tight, new hose. Into the back of a new wheel cylinder. And I've got some just clear line on there, so I'm gonna crack the bleeder and see if I can get some fluid coming from the master down. Add some fluid in there. That's the old fluid. No fluids in the back. And once I get some fluid coming out of the end of this hose, I will put all the brake hardware back onto the drum so that we can pressure bleed it with the brake pedal and not blow out our wheel cylinder, because if you press the brake with nothing here, the little pistons that are inside of here will come out and then there will be brake fluid everywhere and that would be bad. It's the old one. All ratty line. Look how collapsed it was. Let's see if you can see this. This is what happens to old brake lines. See the middle? Very small. It just gets all swollen. And that can actually lock up your brakes. They get super swollen inside and restrictive. And what can actually end up happening is you hit the brakes. Brake fluid is powerful enough to go, one way. Brake fluid pushes into the brake drum, applies the brakes, but then the inside of the tube is so swollen it doesn't let the fluid release when you let off the brakes. So you slam on the brakes, locks them up, and they stay locked even when you let off the pedal. And that can be a big problem. So got all that stuff replaced, and we will bleed. We'll bleed the brakes. Bleeding brakes, yay. Okay, gravity bleed has fluid coming out of the hose, so time to put all the brake hardware back on. Well, I decided since I have all the brake stuff out anyways, I'm gonna do the other side. This hose it's not as bad as the one on the other side. It's really hard though, and I don't think I could get it off before the fitting there. Hello? Yeah, you can see it's all chewed up from someone attempting to get it off, and it didn't look very good. I was able to get the wheel cylinder replaced, I think. Is that new? Yeah, that wheel cylinder is new. I think I just twisted it onto the existing line. I stuck the line through and I was able to thread it on there. But I'm gonna replace this one while I have all of the brake stuff out. And I'm not really worried about destroying that rusty little fitting right there. Because I can replace the line now. I think before I didn't want to, wreck it and then not get it off of the line or not be able to tighten it, and then it was leaking, and I didn't want to deal with that. So now I can get the new line on and replace that fitting. And this one's really short. It just it loops around like the other one does, goes up, over, up here, through the shock tower, and then just straight to the distribution block right here. So that'd be a nice easy little bend to make. I have to get it in there. So, and I've already checked this one I was able to get loose, so that's a positive. But I'll probably just time lapse the whole thing instead of doing it slow. So we'll do that now. Okie dokie, no brake line. Attached there. Through the thing. Down the guy. Under the guy. Through to the other guy. Looped around and into the new brake hose. Is it perfect? No. Does it leak? It does not. So it's good enough for us. Gonna be good enough for now until we redo the front brakes with all the 5-lug disc stuff. We don't have to worry about this hose rupturing or anything like that. I'll probably redo this fuel line here as well because it's a little bit old, and I got a couple little clear filters that we can put in line here to see if we're sucking up any junk from the tank. I got a little digital tack that I can hook up to my coil. And that should be everything that I need right now as far as, you know, regular mechanical repairs and just, you know, overall general maintenance type things so we don't die when we're driving it around the neighborhood and, you know, testing stuff and whatnot. Next thing is going to be the apron holes here. They look so bad. So we're gonna cut them. Put in a plate, put in a plate. Same thing with the hood hinge mounting spots there. They've been replaced or, you know, quote, repaired at some point, and they're falling apart. They got some holes and stuff. So the other side's way worse. You can see what we got going on over there. And those are actually repaired as well. Normally they have those little square, rectangular nuts in them, like this side does. These little squared threaded nuts. See, they're square. Somebody put washers behind them and tried to weld them on, but the metal was already so rusted out and thin that their welder just blew holes. Those holes all around there are just from the welder blasting it. So I think I'm gonna cut that whole area out, basically what's in the frame right there, and weld a plate in, you know, overlapped with the apron, and that should make that a lot stronger. So I'll probably do that next. Holes, plates, and then I will start to strip the other side back quarter panel. And then we'll do the patches back there. And then we'll probably spray high build. Well, we'll spray epoxy primer first on everything. Strip the roof. Once all that body work on the quarter panels is done, strip the roof, epoxy primer, all of it, including this, the whole cowl, the roof, rear quarter panel, tail panel, epoxy all of that. And then it's just really body finishing after that. The front fenders, I mean, everything else needs to be stripped and epoxied, but I can see the back sides of them. There's no like big dents or anything like that. So we will just sand them down, epoxy them, fit them back on the car after the aprons are done, see if we need to do any adjustments in or out, like with the body gaps, with the door gaps, and we'll go from there. So I think that's all for now. I don't know if I want to upload this video or wait until I do these plates. Maybe I'll do the cutting and welding in the next video, since this video is already probably very long.